What's up, everybody? I'm Andrew. I'm the colorist here at the Pearson Collective, and I've been messing with color for like probably almost a decade now. Started in Premiere Pro. I had a friend tell me about DaVinci Resolve, and then started learning it and kind of got obsessed with it a little bit. And today we're going to be looking at a little bit of how I'd go about a clean white look for a project. We have a client that is really wanting a bright, clean look overall for her film. And so here's a little bit about how I'm going to start to tackle that. So today we're working on Haven and Harbor from building a look for the piece. When it comes to color, the client has talked about having a very bright and clean look, which is a very common look in commercial color grading, depending on the style and the brand. But just to walk you through some of kind of like the process of that is we're going to start off with getting our camera just thrown into the proper conversion. And we're going from Panasonic Vlog, which we shoot on, to this is actually a DCTL. This is a custom color space by a colorist named Juan. I can't pronounce his last name, but it's like we call him, I think it's like JP. Anyway, it's called $24.99, and it's a pretty cool color space. And so we're going to throw it into that. And then basically from there, we're going to build our look. A lot of times we do shoot on, with our cameras, we're shooting a 1.5 stops to 2 stops over exposed in order to retain shadow information. When you're shooting in log, you can really retain a lot of that highlight information. So we like to just shoot a couple stops over. That way we have that shadow information that we can play around with. So the first things first, getting the image kind of balanced out. For this type of look where there's a lot of white tile and white cabinetry and stuff like that in the shot, we're really going to want to pay attention to our color temperature because you want it to kind of feel clean. You want it to feel that bright. And sometimes, you know, on set you can maybe shoot things a little bit warmer than you thought. So that's just kind of balancing for that. And then we're going to really start to build our look, and overall we're creating that. The great thing about a clean white look is that you're really not doing a ton to it. You're just kind of making sure that your saturation doesn't get too crazy or anything like that. So we're going to be using a tool called Contour. This is by a colorist named Cullen Kelly. We have some very light contrast going on this image just to give it some space. There is actually a split tone that's happening. Split tone is super important when it comes to color grading because that really allows you a lot, or gives you a lot of depth. And it's when you create a warmth in the highlights and a coolness in the shadows. And sometimes it's not always that. Sometimes it is more of a monochromatic look, but for most things it's going to be cooler shadows, warmer highlights. And you normally think for a clean look you wouldn't be adding any split toning, but for this, what we're doing, and this is what's cool about this tool, is we can actually say that we just want to have it attack the most saturated parts of our image. So it is giving us some split toning, but it's avoiding some of the white tile and things like that behind her. I know this looks kind of crazy, but basically it is, especially in this oven back here, you can kind of see how it's going from that red to a little bit warmer, since that is some of the darker parts of the image, and it's just actually causing everything to feel a little bit cooled off. It is attacking these chairs a little bit more than I would like, so maybe I'll push this back up, not as focusing as much on the low end. Basically this piece right here allows you to kind of like go back and forth of whether you want it to focus more on the lower parts of the image or the higher parts of the image. So this is doing a good job just kind of cooling off here. And then with the saturation, we've boosted some of the lower saturated areas. This isn't doing a ton at all. Really, with these types of looks, you're not going crazy. You're just trying to make sure that the image stays clean and that you're just trying to create some good separation, mostly with contrast and split tone. With density is not doing much here. It's just some slight density to kind of make the image feel a little more balanced. And then with the hue, the only thing that we're really doing with hue here is we are pushing it a little bit more cyan to give it some green. Is just a little bit more of a high energy color. So we're pushing it a little bit greenish cyan. Not much, just very slight, but it just kind of feels like it opens up the blue parts of the image there. So yeah, basically we've got some balance going on. Here we're just kind of looking at the image and we're knocking down a little bit more of these high saturated areas, like the yellows here in this greenery behind her. It's very slight, but just knocking some of that yellow saturation off to blend it in some more. We do have some power windows here that I was playing with. I kind of like them just off, if I'm being honest. Sometimes you start to build like a look and you're like, you know, maybe this feels balanced together. Maybe I like this, maybe I don't. And that really is a lot of what color grading is. It's just kind of looking at things, saying I like this, I don't like this. The client wants this bright, so we might lean into, you know, keeping this brighter look here. So maybe what I could do is actually turn both of these nodes on, because this is basically like darkening up the background a little bit, and it's knocking a little bit of the highlight off of her to kind of balance out the image some more. But maybe if it's too strong, I can compound these nodes here, and then I can just like turn them down to kind of blend it in a little bit. And looking at that, it's doing knocking down the highlight some slightly, but it's still keeping it bright looking, which is pretty cool. I'm gonna knock down a little bit more. I added just a tiny bit of sharpness here. It didn't really need any, but it was helping pop her eyes a little bit more. And then I did add the film look creator to add a slight vignette, and that's just helping kind of have her stand out. And then I added some glow, which is just causing a little bit of blooming to happen back here on the back wall, and then aperture diffraction, which is just adding some softness again to those highlighted parts of the image. So really, it's a very simple look. The whole thing is just to create kind of a clean overall look for a project like this, and then really you can go in and like going into some of the other interior shots. If we add these to the same group, like this shot's been added to the same group, it just has a very clean look here. And some of these outside shots I'll probably do a little bit more. That might be for another video, but even for like an interior shot here, we can add this to the look, and basically you're getting a clean image. Here I would probably just go in, and I've already kind of done something on that clip, but we can go in and just kind of knock down the exposure a little bit, but overall this is looking very clean, kind of how we want it.